Hello, good afternoon and welcome to New Forest Morphs. Mandy joins me today. My name's Paul and we're at the beginning of the new breeding season and I wanted to wish everyone all the very best in your new breeding season ahead. To all our friends and family out there that are interested in developing this hobby. So today we're just going to cover a couple of things. You've got on front of here, we spoke on our last video that we're going to get some what they call stat racks. So that's stat racks. And these are from Herpxotic, and what they basically are, Mandy, is I'll just show you how they're built. These are built on a laser, and Simon Ling built them for us. And what they've done is they've cut out at the very front a couple of gaps that allow the habitats to go inside. And so what you've got is you take your habitat and you actually fit it from this side and you push them into here, and it gives you better control at the same level as where you are. Now I'll show you what I mean, because over here Jad and I have just installed some new stat racks, and you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 installed. So it does make them higher, so you've got 5 on top and 5 below on the racking system, but it means that I can now control the temps. And we've got the bottom ones on the left, top ones on the right, all the way through. And it just gives us more control over temperature control. The other thing I've found is because there's a gap here, all the wires fit in behind the housing, so it keeps it really tidy. And also the other thing I've found is that because you've actually got a gap between the two stacks of 5, you get better control of temps, because otherwise on top of each other the temps in this area get perhaps a little bit warmer than they should. So actually having an air gap there is actually proven to be better as well, so there's lots of benefits. They come in about £50 each, so we bought 8, 6 along here. We're going to put a couple more over this side as well. We haven't got around to doing them yet, but I just wanted to show you the carcass of what they've done. So what they do is they come in this carcass. What Simon's done is he's put in here, if you come over here, man, and have a look, he's cut some back plates to the thermostats so that when you're pushing the thermostats they don't actually push in, and so you take those off initially. They screw in and out like that, and if you want to you can then put your thermostat in there and then put the back plate on the back to hold it in position. What we found is because it's so tight Jared had to use a bit of muscle power to get them in because the laser cutting is so tight that we don't need these basically. So what I've done is I've collected them all up just in case we need them in the future and stored them into this cupboard. So it all depends on how tight a cut you get. If you get a really tight cut, then you don't need those. If you get a loose cut, you'll definitely need those. And we think they're brilliant, and it's really helping to help with the temperature and maintain the temperature controls. We're trying to fine-tune our second year in the facility to make the temperature control better, to avoid sluggings out and to avoid the males getting too hot, so it protects their sperm, and also it prevents the girls from getting too hot, so we can control things better. So we'll see how it all goes. Now normally this time of year we've got lots of rain, beginning of October. It's dropped 2 or 3 degrees outside. We're still swimming in the swimming pool, braving it. But that'll probably have to close down soon. But the reason I say that is because normally I would be getting my heater working in here, but we're finding with the insulated facility and the heat literally coming off the heat mats, we're maintaining a 78-degree ambient temperature in the facility, which I think is ideal for breeding. It's dropped down a couple of degrees, and they often say to drop your ambient temperature down 2 degrees before you start pairing and breeding. And I think the reason for that is follicle development. The ladies that are building follicles will be moving on to the cooler spots. They'll still have their 90-degree hot spots when they want them, but you'll find they'll start bowl wrapping. Now the good news is that a lot of our girls from last year actually have regained conditioning, and they're looking really good, and I'll show you a few of those in a second. But first I wanted to show a couple of other technical things that we're doing to help us prepare for hopefully a really good start to the new breeding season. We've already had 2 locks from 2 pairings, and I'll tell you a bit about those in a second. But let's just have a look at our humidity first and see how we're doing on the humidity control. So over here we have our humidity controller, and you can see it's running at about 61%, which is absolutely bang on. for what you want in your ambient humidity. So they normally say between 60 and 65% is a really ideal level of ambient humidity in your facility. Obviously we've got various snakes that are in shed, like Jupiter's in shed, we've got camis in shed, skips in shed, ices in shed. This is all good signs. It means that all these girls are growing and they're wanting to shed, so they're preparing for more growth. And let me give you an example of Isa, for example. Now she's our desert ghost ENCHI, 100% het caramel. And if I pull her out, you'll see that she's in shed, but look how beautiful. She's starting to become a mature desert ghost, and look at those lovely grey colours, which I think are lovely. What do you think of her, man? She's pretty. Now if I take the new humidity and temp gun, you'll see that inside her enclosure she's running at 59% humidity, and she's running at 88 to 89 temps. If you look at the gun, can you see that, man? So the humidity in her rub is very similar to the humidity in the facility. Now when they're going into shed, we need to increase their humidity. So a little tip that I do is I spray down their enclosure to give them an extra 10%, 15%. So I spray it down, spray the animal a little bit, and that'll help her shed. When they're in shed, they can go even as high as 70%. Some people go as high as 80 just for a day or two. You wouldn't want to put an animal up to 80 for very long. Just for breeding and for shedding purposes, extra humidity definitely helps. So now we're controlling the humidity levels by making sure that the 60% in the facility, and we also top up their humidity by spraying them down and also filling up their water bowls or giving them a slightly bigger water bowl. There's things we can do. We've got perforations that are in here. The more perforations for airflow, the better. Although if you have too many, you can lose humidity. So some people don't put too many in, but you've got to get that balance right. The other thing we've done is we've replaced one of our fans that gave up the ghost. So these fans are very important. And I'll just show you why. This one was being replaced. Now if I switch her on, now this one has a rotating facility. So what it's doing is you're getting air circulation in the facility, because what you want is you do not want any stale air and you do not want any stagnant air. Stagnant air is not good in your breeding facility because it can actually lead to bacteria growth in areas. So you want plenty of flow of air through the whole facility and through all the rubs. So we have one at this corner and we have another one at the other corner. You'll see over there. I'll switch this one off. I won't put the other one on, Mandy, because they're quite noisy and we tend to switch them off because when we're filming it's a lot clearer and you can hear me better. The other thing we've done here is there's a couple of other things that we're doing to create the atmosphere. This is our fogger. Now come and have a look at the fogger, Mandy. So this fogger, if you I think it cost us about £80. We got it from America. It's a really good one and we've done a video about this as well, so do check out our videos if you want to see the full details. But we fill that up with lukewarm water, so it's blowing out not cold fog, it's blowing out lukewarm fog, so it actually keeps the temperature in the facility going. And it has various settings on here. Now you can see here, if I show you the settings, man, you see the settings? So over here we can go up to 3 bars of, if I press for number 3, alright, now I don't know what happened there. Let me just switch that back on again. There we go. So if you see there's 3 bars there, that increases the amount of fog coming out. So if your humidity is, say, down at 40 or 45%, then you can actually either set this to come up and increase the humidity, and if it's too much, you can actually go the other way and take it down to 1 bar. There's your 1 bar. And then you'll see only a little bit of fog comes out. So you can control the amount. Now it's very humid outside, so today I've been leaving it on set 2, and set 2 has kept it around about 60%. I've closed the windows as well, and I've only got very small openings for fresh air to come in, because the idea is that what I don't want to do is I don't want the humidity escaping out of the windows, and I want to keep the heat in as well. So to prevent us from having stale air, I have also bought an air conditioning unit down here, which they're a couple of £100, and the air conditioning unit filters the air, so it makes sure that the recycled air is clean, takes all the impurities out into a filter, charcoal filter system, which I think is excellent. So we probably will be putting on the heater in the next couple of weeks, and we'll probably put it down to the cooler side of the facility, but with the airflow on the fan you'll find that the heat will be distributed much more evenly, and we should be able to maintain that 78 degree ambient temperature. So there's a little bit about our setup here. Now what I wanted to do is just show you a few of the girls that we are preparing for future breeding and how they're doing, the reconditioning. And I'll also show you just 4 of our baby hatchlings which we've got as holdbacks, and they're the ENCHI Fires and ENCHI 100% Desert Ghosts, and we'll have a look at them under the spotlight. But let's look at the girls first. So the first one I was going to show you was Daisy. Now Daisy is an albino leopard. She was bought about 2 years ago. She's about 2.5, 3 years old, and if you look at her condition, Mandy, she's looking absolutely wonderful, isn't she? She gave us one little baby last year, and she slugged out on a few as well. And what we've learned is we're not going to put a male to her until she starts to get much thicker in her body. Now she's regained all her body loss from last year, plus she's put on a bit, but I'm not going to put a male to her yet because I want to build her up a bit more before we decide to put a male to her. And it might be that I may not put a male to her at all this year until I'm happy that she is looking strong, healthy, with extra reserves, because when they give us a clutch they do take a lot out of them, and up to 1,000 grams of weight can be lost. So I'd like her to get up to 2.5 kilograms before she lays her eggs. So that if she lays her eggs she'll drop down to about 1,500, and therefore she's always going to be a decent sized female, and she'll be able to regain her strength better. The danger of taking a very young girl at 1,500 grams and breeding with her is that she could still give 800 grams of weight loss and get down to 700 grams, and that is very, very what's the word, dangerous for the animal, because she could give up her life given that clutch. I mean, that's dangerously close to where she should be. She should be much further up. So my philosophy is be patient before you pair, get the girls as big as you can before you start breeding with them, because otherwise I think there's always that danger they're going to end up giving you either a small or poor clutch and they'll be knocked back with their weight. So sometimes waiting a bit longer and being patient is one thing we've learned from last year. Hopefully will give us a much more fruitful clutch, and also keep the health of the animal really healthy. The other girl that gave us a big clutch last year of 10 eggs is Flame, our fire girl. And here she is, she just shed out. She's regained all her body weight. If you have a look at her body size, she's about 2.5 kilos, and she'll probably get up to about 3 kilos before we put her to another male. So she's doing really well. These girls are pounding at the moment. They're pounding small rats, and they're taking at least 1, possibly 2 small rats every week to build their body weight. But because they're 2.5 kilograms, we could have given them a medium rat, but we choose to give them smaller rats to help them with their digestive system. Coco, who's our mocha girl, gave us another big clutch of 9 eggs. She just shed out. Now have a look at her conditioning. She's looking absolutely stunning. She's regained all her body weight and more. But again, we're going to hold back pairing her until we see her progressing another 300 or 400 grams. But she's looking great. Then we've got Ray. Now Ray is looking great. She's just recently shed out too. She's regained all her body weight. But again, we're going to wait a few more months, build her up again, and see how she does going forward. She's pounding small rats as well, and she loves Maltese. So there we go, there's just a few of our girls. Cappuccino, she gave us a lovely clutch. She's our Platty Daddy or Platty Mummy. She's regained all her body weight and more, so she's doing well. She's pounding small rats. And Cleo, I caught her bowl wrapping this morning. Is she still bowl wrapping? No. So she's, look at the chunkiness of her, how much she's restored her strength. But she was bowl wrapping, which told me that she's building follicles. So she may want to go again for us this year. She's doing really well. Phoenix, let's have a look and see how Phoenix is doing. She's in shed, but she's put on a lot of body weight. Look at her body weight recovery. She's as big as she was last year before she gave us the clutch. And she's pounding food at the moment. And she's in shed. And then at the very bottom we've got Sexy Lexi, who gave us a, now this is an example where perhaps was too keen to breed her last year and she didn't give us a full clutch, healthy clutch. She gave us 3 eggs and they were all infertile. So what I'm going to do this year is just going to rebuild her. You can see her condition has definitely come back. So what I might do, just show you her conditioning. Just have a look how beautiful she is now. She's put on some weight. You can see the body fat that she's building in reserve. And I'm going to hold back breeding her. I might even skip her this year and give her a full season to get really strong and healthy and big again. But the thing, I pushed her at the edge last year, and I think, you know, we learnt our lesson from actually doing that. And so it would have been better. She would have been in a much stronger and bigger state for this season had I waited another year. So we live and learn. Just put her back. Now we do have some other girls that are preparing nicely, and I'll show you those. These are first time breeders. So we've got Elsa, who's 100% het for pied. She's getting close to 2 kilograms. And there she is. Looking really chunky, really healthy. We'll put her back. So I think we should be able to produce a clutch with her this year. We've also got Jo, who's one of Jad's first babies. You can see how she's building nicely. So she's probably up to about 1800 grams now. So she could be a potential mother for next year. Again, we'll keep an eye on that. And Jade, who's given us the most recent clutch, she hasn't eaten yet. She's had 2 attempts to feeding, but she's not eating at this stage. So we're going to keep a very close eye on her and rebuild her. She gave us 8 beautiful pearly whites just a couple of weeks ago. So she's on our focused recovery mums. We might give her, because she went late, we might give her a year off this season for sure. Here we've got Terry, who is a Orange Dream Het Russo 50% het pied, and she's up to about 1700, and she's got that lovely Orange Dream in her and yellow belly, and she's het for Russo. So we're hoping we can breed with her this coming year, but we'll keep building her. She's pounding small rats. Then Korma, who's our pastel banana girl, she's looking quite chunky. Can you see the width of her here? She's a first time potential mother, but again, we're not going to rush her. We're going to give her plenty of time to get nice and strong, but she could also be a first time mother for this coming season. And I think that's all of the girls on this side. Let's have a little look at the girls and how they're doing on the other side here. So Penelope, she's doing really well. You can see her size, close to 3 kilograms. So she locked with the banana Super Pastel Orange Dream Banana Apollo, but didn't give us a clutch last year. So I'm hoping that she'll give us a clutch this year. And she's certainly got the size for her, and she's pounding food at the moment. We've got Panda, who unfortunately didn't shed. Oh, she's in shed at the moment. She's about 3 kilograms. She went to the banana Super Pastel Orange Dream and didn't give us a clutch this year. I'm hoping she'll give us an early clutch next year. And then we've got Sienna, which is part of our Panda Pie project. She got stuck in some shed, so we've got to help her get out of that. You can see she's a little bit stuck in shed at the top end. She's nearly 3,000 kilograms. And if I show you her size and body weight, just look at that body weight. You see the depth of the end of this is what you're looking for. From this section down, you can see how big she is, and her tail starts to fill. Now she locked with Elvis, which is our pied, let's just put that down. She locked with Elvis, who is our pied, cinnamon pied boy. So we've already had 2 locks for this season already, and at the very bottom, which I'm going to use the hook for this, because this girl Queenie, who had a feeding problem last year, is feeding like an absolute dinosaur. Just have a look at this. There she is. She is about getting close to 3 kilograms. She started feeding once we put her on cocoa husk, and we gave her a giant size hide, Mandy. Can you see the size of the hide? Now she loves it because she's got privacy, she's got the right substrate now, and just look at her body size. She's absolutely pounding food at the moment. But we won't disturb her too much. But I'm hoping that she'll go for this coming season for us. We'll put her back. So there's some big girls here. We're on 21, okay. Let's just have a look and see if I've got any other girls I wanted to show you. See how they're doing. We've got Amber, one of our other pastel clowns. She didn't go for us last year, but she might go this coming season. She's about 2.4 kilograms, looking quite chunky. She is a fussy eater. She's been eating Maltese, and I think that's the reason why she's taken so long to get to this stage. She does go across to small rats when she wants to build, but she's very fussy. She'll only take Maltese, and that takes a bit longer for her to build up to her body weight. Right, now you can also see we've invested in another 50-litre set of racks and rubs, and this is going to be for 5 big girls to move up, and then we'll be moving our 5 sub-adults into this racking system, and then we'll be able to rotate everything around. I've also invested in some more hides, so I bought another 10 baby hides, so we've got a hide for every new baby. I bought another 10 large hides because some of the sub-adults are becoming quite big and we need to give them bigger hides, so that's for that. And I've also bought 5 big extra large hides. They're about £13 each. These are about £7 each, and these are about £3.50 each. And I use the Easy Clean hides from ProRep, are the ones that you can get on Amazon, and I think I use Northampton Reptiles, are very good. They give you special discounts, so we're all sorted out on that side. So just to finish off, I'll just show you under the spotlight a couple of our babies from last year that are coming on. So the ones I wanted to show you was this one here, which is Ember. Let's have a look and see how they're doing. I'll set the scales up so we can also weigh them, see how they're doing. You can hear it's raining outside, so we'll probably end up doing a little bit of pairing in the next couple of days. We've just fed our adults, so we'll probably do some pairings in a couple of days, because this is the perfect time to start locking if your animals are ready. We've got lovely conditions here in the UK. Now here she is. Let's have a little look. You can see just how big it's growing. Let's just weigh it in and see how much it's weighing. 190 grams, Mandy. 190. Let's put it under the spotlight and see how it looks. There we go. There we go. Shall I have a little look? So 190, so it's weighed in at 60 grams, so it's 3 times its birth weight, and it's about 2 months old, this one here. Right, we'll put that one back. Here we go. So this is a ENCHI 100% Herpxotic Desert Ghost, and I can't wait for her to be ready to go into our breeding projects. And we've also got, we were very lucky here because we've got a female of our ENCHI, and we also got a second female called Vesta. Now let's just weigh her and have a look at her. She started to eat a little bit later than her sister, but let's just see how big she is. There we go. We'll weigh her and we will just see how much she weighs. So she's 164, not quite as big as her sister, but still doing really well. Let's put her under the light box and we can have a little look at her. FLIER ENCHI 100% Desert Ghost. And the 100% Desert Ghosts boys that we are bringing on are almost going to be available. If anybody wants to get into the Desert Ghost gene, is looking for a 100% het Desert Ghost boy, please do send a message to Jared on Instagram at New Forest Morphs, or you can send a message to me on Facebook at New Forest Morphs, or even on this video. Feel free to send us a message. And I just love the ENCHI head stamp. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? And she's 164. That's Vesta. And there you go, Mandy. Now we'll carefully try to put her back. And what's lovely is Emily's also spending time in here socialising these animals, so they're becoming less striky. And we'll just put that one back. And the other two that we've got are Tyson, who's an ENCHI 100% Desert Ghost. So let's see how he's doing. There we go. You can see the difference between the ENCHI and the ENCHI FLIER. So he's probably about 150 grams. We won't disturb him. He's a little bit not quite as socialised as the other ones. And we've got Enya. And I think we've got 10 eggs in this clutch. And we're keeping back these 4, but there's 6 available, which are all 100% for Desert Ghost. And there you go, ENCHI 100% Desert Ghost, and that one's going to be about 110 grams is my guess. So that's that. So I think that's about it for now. So on the next video we're going to be, hopefully, if we get time, we're going to be looking at using technology to record breeding locks, to record ovulations, to record eggs, to record lots of stats, but we're going to use various software, and we'll introduce you to what kind of software we're using, and if there's something that you might find of interest for yourself, then obviously we can share that with you. The other good news is that we've got all our babies now are feeding. So it's always worrying when you've got new babies and they just strike at it and won't take the food. But Jared and I had a session Wednesday with the babies, and we had a follow-up session a couple of days later. And Jared was assisting rat pups to some of the girls and boys, the babies that were not taking. And we found that they assist fed, they did take them in. So we're hoping next week they'll be either need to assist feeding again, or maybe they might start to strike. And there was about 2 or 3 girls and boys that we were worried about, which are now being assist fed. So I think all the hatchlings have had at least 1 meal now, which is really good. The last thing is we've got our eggs in the incubator down here, Mandy, which will be due in November. You can have a quick look at those before we wrap up. And again, you can see that I check them not every day, but I just have a good look at them. You can see there's no condensation on the eggs. They're tilted slightly at an angle anyway, but the temperatures are holding at 88 to 89, so I'm very happy with that. Right, I think that's all for today. So everyone have a wonderful weekend. Please support us by either subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you to all our subscribers who've joined the channel. Please share, and we look forward to seeing you next time. And enjoy your weekend, and we shall see you again. Bye bye for now.